Hello and welcome to another episode of Sports and Songs Podcast. This is season 6, episode number 18. Tonight's the Songs edition. Andy, today is March 13th, 2025. And what's going on in your neck of the woods?
Not too much. Not too much at all. Just very busy this time of year. The insurance paying job is keeping me busy this
Oh, yes,
holiday
I'm
season.
sure. A lot of things going on. So tonight's an album review. What we're going to do is review an album from Whitesnake. Kind of friends. I'm not going to say friends of the show, but we're both, we both like Whitesnake. I would say more or less David Coverdale. And some of the Deep Purple connections, right?
Yeah, and even the other stuff they've done. Other guys have been in and out of the band. I've always enjoyed because it's mostly been Coverdale, then insert various artists here and there. And I've always been fans of all those guys and just kind of really like the music. It's something different. And you'll find out in this one why. I don't want to spoil your report.
Oh, I got a feeling there's some blues.
There it is. That's the word.
There's some blues. So tonight's album review is Whitesnake's album, Saints and Sinners.
Yes.
Now, this one doesn't get a lot of press. It's not the popular stuff that you hear, but going back in the history, they historically very important album as it kind of got them the ball rolling. This was the 5th studio album by English hard rock band Whitesnake, released November 1982. Despite their troubles after recording, it peaked at number 9 in the UK and was certified silver. So we'll get to some of the troubles here later, but key thing to note, it did not chart any of the singles in the U.S. No singles charted in the United States. And this is, once again, what we get in the rock music area. Europe, you can be very successful in Europe or the UK, Britain, but it does not mean it translates over to the U.S. or vice versa. So These guys were good. Were doing well. They were living kind of high on the hog. This is their 5th studio album. They're doing well, but they couldn't break through in the U.S. So this was an album that kind of talked about that. And so after they finished their previous album's tour for Come and Get It, which was really good, Come and Get It, we have not reviewed that one. We should add it to the list. David Coverdale retreated to a small villa in southern Portugal to begin writing the band's next album. His time there was becoming tough and emotionally charged, during which the time his then wife Julia had left. He had gotten divorced. People were fired. It was a lot of problems going on. The band wasn't getting along, and so very interesting. After returning to England, he and the rest of the Whitesnake band gathered at the studios in London to begin rehearsals, but tensions with the group had begun to appear. And he said, Coverdale said, there wasn't that spark that was usually there for the beginning of a new fresh album. There's always a spark. This was just, everyone had to make an effort just to show up on time. They were partying. These guys were having fun, and it wasn't going well. The morale was low due to exhaustion and their excessive success. And so a lot of this was going on in the U.S. Whitesnake wasn't known, but boy, in the U.K., this was a big band. And so they returned to the studios and started recording eventually at Battery Studios. Now, because they had to switch, they found out that Def Leppard was also recording there at the same time. And so, Def Leppard also, this album, came out in 1983. So neither band was known that well in the U.S. And so they switched producers. They had a bunch of things going on. The financials were in question. Let's just say this.
Yeah.
The financial situation. The previous guy had left the band who was doing the financials. They went to the group's financial management company called Seabreeze, and they said, what's the deal? We've had 4 successful records. This is our 5th, and we're constantly in the hole. constantly. How can we not be serious? Is someone skimming off the top? Is there money being left? Is there money embezzled? Is there money being stolen? What is the deal? Because we're a successful band and it's not panning. So they went through a lot of changes. They said we got to get this going. As they went through this, David Coverdale realized that this band is not going to just run on autopilot. He says, I had to take the band on my shoulders and say that David Coverdale is Whitesnake. I need to take this where it needs to be. The rest of the band was also happy of where they were for success. They were happy with gold and silver albums. David Coverdale said, but we need platinum. We need to make it big. And so he took it on his back and he really turned this thing around, going through his divorce and everything else. Now, his daughter at the time, Jessica, contracted bacterial meningitis, which purportedly gave Coverdale the courage to cut ties with another manager in the group to say, look, life's too short. I'm going to start doing this myself. I'll get the guys that I need. So the daughter's illness, Andy, was really put this whole thing over the edge, and he got to going to where he wanted to become. And they became very successful in the U.S. So Saints and Sinners comprises a bluesier pub rock approach. Now, Andy, I have not heard that. What's pub rock?
Not a clue. I thought it was kind of a cool name, though.
I liked it. They had some new songs, some fresh songs on this album. It was produced very good. They have once again a very good album cover, things that we like. And there's two songs that were on this album that the average listener of music is going to know by heart. Crying in the Rain. Here I Go Again. These are two staples for Whitesnake that became famous in 1987 when they kind of reorged the band and became more commercial and commercially pop and very popular, and they went off the edge. Very good. But those two songs were on this album, Crying in the Rain and Here I Go Again.
You said pub rock, like
Here I Go
like
Again. Yeah, brew pub. Something you'd hear in a band you'd hear in at a bar.
Here's what our friends at Wikipedia said about it. Pub rock,
yes,
is a subgenre of rock music that emerged in the early to mid 70s in the UK. A back to basics movement which incorporated roots rock. Pub rock was recognition against the expensively recorded and produced progressive rock and flashy glam rock scenes at the time. Although short-lived, pub rock was played live in small traditional venues like pubs and clubs. Since major labels showed no interest in pub rock, pub bands sought out independent record labels. So that's pub rock.
Very interesting. So they finished the album, and now they go on tour. This tour began December of 1982 in Southampton, went on to continental Europe, Japan. They were supporting Ozzy Osbourne, who was huge at the time. The band went on to the Roost Rock Festival and later Monsters of Rock, where the single Guilty of Love promotional video was filmed there in front of 40,000 people in the audience. I mean, they got to be huge. So here's the track listing. And so, once again, this is 82?
Yeah.
1982. Side one, Young Blood, good song. Rough and Ready, next song, is also good. Bloody Luxury, that's got a more of a pub rock feel to it. Victim of Love, that's the video that was used with 40,000 screaming fans. Crying in the Rain. And song 6, Here I Go Again, the first version. Song 7, Love and Affection. 8, Rock and Roll Angels. Number 9, Dancing Girls. I like this song. That's pretty good. It's an upbeat song. And finally, Saints and Sinners. So it's 10 songs on the album. They're all 3 to 4 or 5 minutes. It's nothing big. There's, it's all good music. And they were very popular once again in the UK and Britain and over in Europe. But now finally they get some promotion and things get going big here. It's David Coverdale on vocals, Mickey Moody and Bernie Marsden on guitars. They always used the 2-guitar group setup. John Lord on organ, been around a long time. John Lord, Neil Murray on bass, and Ian Pace from Deep Purple drums. So it's a 6-piece band. It's good hard rock, not metal. It's hard rock.
Yep.
It's straight up hard rock.
Good old rock and roll. Yep.
It is. And so once again, I liked it. It's 1982. It's before I got into music as a 12-year-old kid. There, I got into it later on. But Whitesnake was a big favorite of mine on some of those albums in the early to mid 80s. This is considered the genre hard rock and blues rock. 39 minutes and 16 seconds long. Now the singles they released was Here I Go Again. On the B side was Bloody Luxury. Bloody Luxury. Very good. I think that they were hoping that would take off because it's in the liner notes as well. And it never really did. They used that as kind of the promotional poster for this album release was Bloody Luxury. I never heard that even song ever until recently when I got into this older stuff. Again, Victim of Love was released May of 83. So they released, they did a deluxe, I think a remaster in 2007. There's the album cover there. I'm gonna drop this off just for a sec, but that's the album cover. It's a statuette of some sort. And then also in the deal, in the liner notes, they show the back of it. It's an actual statue. They show the front and the front of it and the back of it. It's a.
It wasn't just a drawing; it was a real statue. Yeah,
it's a real, real deal. So, the book liner notes that came out in the 2007 has a lot of the story and those written later after they redid all this. It has a lot of old pictures and updates on the band and stuff. And David Coverdale, the reason that this all took off was he had come to the conclusion that he needed to take charge and be Whitesnake. Yep. David Coverdale, rather than just a member of the band or the lead member or the front man, he had to take it on his back. And that's when that Whitesnake took off. I mean, the next album in 84 was Slide It In, and then 87 was Whitesnake again.
Yeah.
They took off. They trajected huge, but they were cast-offs from Deep Purple.
Yep.
And did a lot there in the UK, but they had a tough time getting into the US. And I find that very interesting when we do these album reviews. And I didn't know that.
The thing I respect about that is, like I said, he took it on his back. He made it his thing, but he didn't change the name to David Coverdale and Whitesnake. Or he still kept it Whitesnake. He didn't mess with that. So that's cool in my opinion, because if he would have thrown his name in front of it, people would have said, "Who's this egomaniac?"
Correct. And David Coverdale was, in my opinion, he was the Robert Plant of that next generation. The front man. Looked like him, sang like him, had the same posturing and stuff on stage. All the songs were about sex, of course. Very, very womanizing. And that's David Coverdale, just like a Robert Plant or a Paul Stanley kind of a deal.
I don't understand what you're talking about there.
These it's good songs. They're good comedy, not comedy, but they're fun. The lyrics are very entertaining. Back at the time, this was good stuff, but the records never sold until later on. But.
And if you think about what you said about this album, a lot of people got into them later with Slide It In and with Whitesnake, with those two albums. This album was 10 songs, 39 minutes. They didn't have the long guitar solo in there like they had on their later albums. So if you like their later stuff and you go back, it's still the same music, just not the long guitar solo in there. So they just kind of cut it down, pound it out, 40 minutes, 10 songs, boom, boom, boom. Then you get to the MTV genre, and you can put guitar solos in there and spread it out. Yep. And spread it out. So then you did want the longer songs. You got more time on MTV. People saw you more often. That was the name of the game. There he is.
Look at Coverdale with the jet black hair. Looks like Gene Simmons almost.
That's what Tawny Katane saw on it.
Yes, Tawny Katane. So Coverdale became legendary, but boy, were those guys popular in the UK. I did not know that.
Yes.
for albums 1, 2, 3, 4. Now they come with this one, the fifth, and they're still struggling. And I think without making the U.S. markets where they would have made most of their money, maybe they constantly were not having funds. They were underwater. They could not. They were a successful band, but they never had money, and they were living the wild lifestyle. Not quite like Motley Crue, but they were having fun.
MTV helped save their career.
Yes. And so all of it comes back to, once again, timing of everything.
Yep.
Music videos started to come in, and, Coverdale knew that that'd be a hit right away. But this is what I would just call it. This is stripped down rock and roll. This is nothing, no fancy, no fluff, but I liked it. That's all I've got for Whitesnake. Saints and Sinners.
All right, here we are. Da, da, da. That is a beautiful logo, I must say.
Yes, very clean.
Let's start right off homework, right off the bat.
I'll get my pen and paper. Give me something to write on.
Give me something to write on, man. Now, the homework's going to kind of do this a little backwards. I'm going to show you a new album coming out, but your homework is to go back and listen to the first one and do your homework on this band.
Okay.
Spinal Tap.
Oh, yes, that's right. The new one's coming out.
Yes. Spinal Tap 2, but it kind of looks, it's got the, maybe it's an 11. Is it Pi? Is it Stonehenge? What is that?
It looks like a Stonehenge thing for
Stonehenge
2.
Thing, kind of thing. But the rock mockumentary Spinal Tap 2 set to release in September, just in time for back to school.
Oh,
so that's kind of why the homework tie in with that.
This is good.
So that's your homework this summer. Watch the first one a couple times. Listen to the albums they've had since then, in between the two, and be ready. That's your homework.
They've wanted
Sunflower Fox, the Chicken Leg have a vinyl album they have out. You can go to their social media sites and get all the information on how to get your copy. Get your copy there. They're going fast.
I saw our post and they commented back, "What's our favorite track?" And so I didn't respond yet. Do you have a favorite track so far, Andy?
Not yet. I got to listen to come 3 times to get a favorite track. I'm not going to pick one out the first time.
This is good. I'd like to give them an honest answer there on that.
Yes. Research on it. Because usually when I have it going, it's like background noise. I haven't had time to really listen to it and study it.
I love the vinyl. And these guys are 70s throwback band 70s. So it only makes sense for them to issue a vinyl album.
Right.
Love it.
Folsom Prison Experience coming to the Fitzgerald Theater October 24. We've seen it once. I plan on seeing it again. Should be a good time. Fitzgerald Theater, October 24. Okay, North Star original review, music from 7 to 10, no cover, 21 plus. Thursday, it's a school night, Thursday, April 24th. But featuring one of our favorite bands, New Defective.
Yes.
So go give them a shout. Tell Adam Fuel we said hi.
Adam Fuel, baby.
Once Bitten, a celebration of Great White. After the lead singer passed away, there was some other bands came up. So these guys, kind of a Whitesnake cover band. They're gonna be at Medina April 4th. It should be a good time if you like that type of music. If you're a fan of theirs.
So this is not the band members, or is this a tribute band?
It's a little of both.
Okay.
I think one of the guys was in the band at one time, but so there you go. They are playing.
I thought about going. This would be a good show. Yeah. They'd play the hits. You'd not think you'd know as many songs as you would know.
Great White was one of those bands. I know Once Bitten, Twice Shy. Okay, but then when you hear all the songs, go, oh, that was Great White. Oh, that one was Great White.
I think most people would be pleasantly surprised at knowing more songs. This would be a good show. Yeah. Medina, of course.
Yeah. Chris Vox of Hairball doing a special show in Coon Rapids next Friday, the 21st. Go check him out. March 28th, Sugar Buzz, $10 cover at the Bowl. They've been fair warned. We will be there. There'll probably be extra security.
This should be fun. Yeah, we've got a table reserved, and this should be a good show. Always fun to see at the Shakopee Bowl.
And just one thing, if you want, I'm just gonna throw a shameless plug out here real quick. This episode, we don't do it all the time, but this episode in particular, every one of the concerts we've mentioned here so far, and album reviews, everything else so far, except for the last one I'll get to, are people who we've shared on social media, and the band themselves has come back and given a like or a thanks or an acknowledgement. So if you want to shamelessly get your name on here too, we'll put it on social media, no problem. We share band stuff all the time. Throw a little love this way, give it the like, give us a thanks, make sure you're following us. We'll throw you back on the video part of this too. That's fine. And audio for those of you listening, but yes. August 22nd, 23rd, Trib Fest up in Duluth. No acts have been announced yet, but just kind of if you want to mark those days on your calendar, start working the overtime now.
So, and this is always a good one. This is, and usually it's July 4th, right?
Yeah, this is in August 22nd, 23rd this time. So
this is outdoor,
August.
right on the water in the harbor there. Yep. Great venue for this. Yep. I've never, you have never done it. I've never done it.
It's always fallen on the weekend of something else going on.
That would be fun if we could get a chance to get up there some weekend, some year, and get a place to stay and just hang out. There's the bands here they're all local tribute bands,
and
you can approach them.
Yeah, and not to compare it to other big, to Winstock or WeFest or anything like that. The people watching would be fun too because you're all there. It's kind of like the WeFest and stuff where it's the same music. It's not just like different bands thrown together. They're tribute bands, rock bands. They all got the same common interest, so it should be kind of fun too.
Very fun.
And now the soapbox.
All right.
Some people say this is a good move. I'm not surprised by the move considering who it is, but it bothers me. Gene Simmons. He's offering a VIP package with Gene Simmons. Going on a solar tour. You could help him out. You can do this, that, and everything else. And you have to pay him $12,495 to do it. It's not a contest you could enter to win to hang out with Gene for the day. It's not a get a chance to be a roadie and $10,000. No, you give him 12 and a half, and then he'll let you hang out with him.
Yeah.
The last 10 years, the respect for Paul and Gene has slipped away. And for this right here, I kind of lost grips on it.
It's
his musical mind is great. Don't get me wrong. His writing, what he's got to say about rock and roll, I totally respect that. The personal stuff like this part, it's like, dude, really?
Yeah.
How much more money do you really need?
I don't know. But this is Gene Simmons. This is the way he thinks. This is not a business manager coming to him and, proposing and him saying, "Yeah, I guess it sounds like a good idea." He's probably driving it with people saying behind him, "I don't think this is going to work. I don't think this is going to. What are you doing?" And he'll stick with it, and he'll say, "This is what we're doing." Whether it's the Kiss cruises they did, the Kiss coffins. Now Kiss is done essentially, and no retirement. But he jumps right into solo, and first thing is the VIP passes. So,
no offense to David Coverdale, but if David Coverdale did something like this, like, well, of course, the man needs money. He hasn't had an album in years. Gene Simmons has forgotten how much money he's got. As much as he takes, he's made more money than he knows what to do with. And now he wants more. If he would have said, hey, and for $12,000 donation to this charity, you could be my sidekick for the day. Okay, then maybe I'd be all right with that. But this is 12 and a half to his left pocket. And that kind of bothers me because you should be better than that, but maybe you're not.
I was a big Gene Simmons fan, in the 80s, 90s, and 2000s,
late 70s, yeah. And
for those 3 decades, there was
really 70s.
I was a big Gene Simmons fan.
Him and Paul, love them both. And I still respect when they do interviews. I respect what they say, what they have knowledge on the business. I get all that. But ever since they put the makeup back on, that's where I lost it.
It got to be weird.
It was a pure money grab then.
Yeah, and I mean, it is what it is. He'll probably get people to do this, and there's enough Kiss fans, hardcore out there, with disposable incomes at this age that are going to say, I'll do it just to say I've done it. And so he knows that people are going to do it.
I saw a shirt the other day that said, Kiss Farewell Tour, 1984 through 2021. You know, it's like, that's kind of basically the way it was. As the last, and it was all the money they made on their farewell tour the last 6 years. Most of that was over in Europe and overseas. They haven't done much here in the States for a long time.
Yeah, you're right. They haven't done much. Their name is not in the U.S. They're not commonly listed in the press for doing things. So interesting enough. I do see the point. I would agree. I would not even think of doing anything. I wouldn't even be interested to do that.
No. No, that because he's going to work you like a dog. He's not going to say
you're going to be a gopher.
Yeah, you
grab my sandwich, go across the street and get some lunch for us, and we're going to work. I'll give you a little tour of the premises here. So it is what it is. I can see that though.
Yeah, anything else? Term is best boy or something like that. Yeah.
Yes. So the old Deep Purple guys kind of morph into Whitesnake, and very musically good guys. Once again, good musicians. All of them are. So
yeah.
There's good
that's
stuff.
A very good album. That one, Sliding in Whitesnake, those three right there, catalog together. Boom, boom, boom. You got a Saturday going, nothing on. You got a long car ride, like from Milwaukee to Cleveland.
Exactly.
Those would be three good ones to put in a row. Boom, boom, boom.
They would. Good songs. Good songs. All right, everyone. We'll see you next Thursday. Have a good one.
Happy trails.